Well, I finally had some time to follow up on some comments on some of my older videos, and I don't always get to them because I'm kind of busy most of the time. But there was one that was worth mentioning, and I will read this comment verbatim so that it might generate some further discussion. So this commenter said, "Of course Social Security should be privatized. We should own the money we put in our retirement accounts. While we're privatizing things, let's add water and education too. About 62 million adults pay zero federal income tax already. That's 37% of taxpayers. Maybe the tax cuts should go to those who actually pay taxes. The idea that wages have been stagnant for 25 years is absurd." So that was the comment. So let me just address the very first portion of this. We should own the money we put in our retirement accounts. First of all, Social Security is not a retirement account. That's for starters. It's actually an insurance policy for old age and disability, sponsored by the federal government, but paid for by the American citizens and their employers. So it is by no means some sort of an entitlement program whatsoever. The money is earned that is being put into it. It's not free. It was put in there by the very same people who are receiving those benefits. And so to even mention it in some sort of discourse of entitlement programs, in other words, free money, is disingenuous at the very least. Now, as far as private retirement accounts are concerned, you know, we have that opportunity to invest in those already. And those not making enough money, of course, can't invest in those programs. But privatizing Social Security essentially means that you are open in old age to market fluctuations. And if the market goes down and you're 73 years old, then you're just tough luck, you know, if that happens to you, because then you won't get what you have paid into, not even a minimum standard. And the minimum standard of such an insurance policy was guaranteed by Social Security and is guaranteed. And anyone that tries to tell you that the Social Security program is running out of money is wrong, because the Social Security fund has been lumped into the general revenues of the federal government. So it is basically being borrowed from and borrowed against. And so once it becomes part of the larger scheme, then yes, of course, it might be running out of money once you consider our federal defense budget in comparison. So, historically speaking, this person doesn't know much about the implementation of this act because it actually came about because of the Great Depression, which was a very bad thing for ordinary people. And the way that capitalism was actually saved by Social Security seems to completely escape this commenter. You know, the private retirement accounts that this person is talking about were the ones that crashed in the Great Depression, and there was no security left for ordinary and average citizens. And that's why this act came about in the first place. So, maybe this commenter should read up a little bit on United States history, and not just read the Wall Street Journal or whatever he reads. And about 60, what he says here, 62 million adults pay zero federal income tax. Well, part of the reason is that probably half of those 62 million, actually 40 million, don't have an income to tax. They live below poverty level. And so, yeah, they're not paying any income taxes because they don't have any income to tax. So, I don't know what happens to the other 22% here. Maybe this person that commented on my video and made that remark can explain those figures to me. The idea that wages have been stagnant for 25 years, he says, is absurd. I don't know what kind of universe this person is living in, but yes, of course, my wages have increased. I've gotten $3 or $4 raises over the last 10 years, but my standard of living has steadily decreased despite the raises, and that's basically the case for most people that I know. Unless they've made some money in stock investments and so on. But in order to have that kind of money to play with, you have to have some capital to begin with. And so what this viewer is saying is it doesn't relate to ordinary people. And not people like me and not people around me that I know. So maybe he could explain this to us. I'm not sure if this person lives in a gated community somewhere. I'm not trying to be facetious here, but it strikes me as kind of odd that he mentions these figures without actually knowing people's lives. I don't resent paying more taxes, actually. I don't mind it, but I don't want my taxes to go to so-called further defense spending, military adventures abroad, or anything else. I want my taxes to go to the people here. And yes, to some of the unfortunates and to some people who can't make it on their own. The nuclear family, so to say, is no longer in existence, in case you haven't noticed. We're not living in the 19th century here anymore, where people can live with their children up until they're 100 years old and just be welcomed. Unfortunately, that's not the case because many families are working 2 or 3 jobs, and this is not reality. So, maybe this person who commented on my video should take a good look at people around him, not living in his immediate sphere of influence and convictions. Thanks for listening. Good night.